Hi guys, Blake here with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Sunday, November the 8th, and I'm going to do the one cast for you today. I have boated up here. I'm right by the cable. I'm over here on the south bank. They are currently running 3,700 cubic feet per second, which is just a little bit over 1 unit of water. And I'm going to start off with throwing a Sculpin and Peach 16th ounce jig with a brown head. And he's right there. And that's on 4-pound test. Lately, ever since Table Rock has begun its turnover, the jig bite has been really good. And our jerk baits at night have been a little bit slower. I don't think they can see very well at night right now with the water clarity the way it is, but it's sure making for good jig fishing. Let's see. Another beautiful day. About 75 degrees, partly cloudy. This morning it almost looked like it wanted to rain. I think they're calling for some rain on Tuesday, but we'll see if we actually get that. Got a pretty strong cross breeze right now, kind of blowing me back upstream and towards the bank. So it's gonna cause my boat to go pretty slow here. Dwayne is on a guide trip right now, and he is about 50 yards below me. They are also throwing jigs. Stopped and talked to him for a second, and they said that the jig bite's real good. They're using Sculpin and Ginger jigs, and Dwayne said that the best bite is from below the island, kind of down to where the big hole starts. Nothing officially on the first cast. Talked to some guys that are staying with us, renting a boat, and they said that they're doing well today on chartreuse and white power eggs. Passed another one of our boats that looked like they were either drifting night crawlers or power bait, and they were doing well. I think they had 2 fish on at the same time when I went by them. They were just a little bit below Fall Creek. Let's see. I know I heard yesterday that they came back with their limits for all 4 of them using night crawlers filled with air. Oh, there was a bite, darn it. Kind of hoping the wind dies down a little bit, or it's going to take me a long time to get down to the island. And so because the wind's blowing me back upstream a little bit, I'm casting upstream, giving my jig some room to move this way. Because if I cast straight out right now with the way the wind's blowing me upstream, my jig will get pushed so far off to the side that it won't sink down where it needs to be at. Things you gotta pay attention to when you're fishing in the wind. Not nearly as busy today on the lake as it was yesterday. Ow! Seems like they might be short striking a little bit there. I will say that ever since Table Rock started turning over, we've been having, almost all of our rental boats are coming back with good reports of catching fish. I think that a little less water clarity is helping out the bite on all ends, no matter what bait you're using, unless you're fishing at night. It seems that that's the only thing it seems to have slowed down a little bit, but daytime bite is real good, and everybody I talk to, whatever they're using, seems to be working. I don't think, however, I talked to Phil yesterday, I don't think that we're looking at higher oxygen levels yet. I think we still have low oxygen levels. Table rock is just now starting to begin its process, so we won't see those oxygen levels until that lake flips completely over and works its way all the way down to the bottom, which is where our water comes from. Been talking to some people that have been catching a few walleye since they opened the dam. I had a buddy that caught a 21 incher the other night, and someone I just talked to before I left the dock said they caught one. Ooh, bless me. I think I'm gonna point the nose of the boat downstream. And I'm going to use the trolling motor just a touch to keep myself moving a little faster here. Try to fight the wind a little bit. Oh, there's another bite. Swing and a miss. I can tell you with the way the water is right now that 4-pound test is perfectly fine. I definitely can't see that 4-pound right now. Talked to a set of guys that were drifting in front of Trophy Run on my way up here, and they said that the scud bite from the cable to the big hole was good, and then once they got down to the big hole they were switching over to San Juan worms, and the San Juan worms all the way down to Lookout Point. They said Lookout Point Island were pretty good. I don't know if they're liking my Sculpin and Peach as much as they liked the Sculpin and Ginger the other day. Pull myself out and around here. You definitely don't want to drift too close to the inside edge of that island. It is very shallow, and right here off the front of it there's actually some pretty good sized rocks. And you don't want to get tangled up with those. Oh, man. As this water shallows up, I like to gotta speed up your retrieve a little bit. You really just want that jig kind of going right to the bottom and coming back up. Sometimes there's an application for letting it hit the bottom and set there for a second, but ideally you want it to be just going right above the bottom and straight back up. There was a fish and I didn't even move it. I'll say I've caught some pretty nice rainbows in this little riffling water that comes off the side of the island here. I'm gonna turn the boat back around for a second. I'm kind of drifting down into Dwayne's fishing area there. Yeah, looks like they got one on. There's one. There's the one that wanted the sculpin and peach. That's a pretty trout there. Alright, kind of let Dwayne get ahead of me there. I'll turn the boat back around so that you're not facing the camera, or so that the camera's not facing the sun here. I'm drifting right next to the root wad right now. For some reason, I'm having a hard time not catching up with Dwayne right now. I actually brought a few different colors that I wanted to play around with. I think because the floodgates being open, I think that black and white, which kind of just almost imitates most of your basic minnows, is going to be a good color. So I think I'm gonna try that one out for a second here. All right, so got a 16th ounce, and that's a black and white jig on 4-pound on one of our Lilley's rods here. I talked to some people yesterday that said the white jig bite down below around the Short Creek area, they said was real good. So I don't know if we had enough shad that some managed to get down there, or if white was just the right color. Black and white is one of my favorite colors of jigs to throw. It works here pretty often. Sounds to me like Dwayne's catching a whole lot of walleye over there. I don't know, it might be a walleye. All right, there's a little bit healthier of a fish here. There it is right there. And that was right next to that little island I was talking about the other day. I mean, he was just right there on the edge of it. I think we'll go for a couple more casts here. with this wind blowing as much as it is, I'm kind of having to lay my line down on the water as far as there's another one, as far as I can. Ooh, that one's a lot darker colors. They are starting to turn over for their mating. Yeah, looks like the black and white might be an all right color down here. And it's funny, something I've noticed here, that sometimes, well, the color that works from, let's just say, the cable down to the root wad might be entirely different from the color that works good from the root wad down to trophy run. Kind of something to watch and pay attention to. Just like those guys, they realized that the scuds are working better just from the cable to the big hole, and then realized that San Juan worms were working better from there down. It definitely pays to experiment. And the wind has almost entirely died off down through here. This rod I'm using is a medium light 6 foot with a fast action tip, and it is just a really great rod for jigging. And I've used these rods for dragging too. They have that fast action tip really provides a good sensitivity for when you're bouncing night crawlers or whatever you're bouncing across the bottom. Just all around a good action here for Lake Tunicoma. There's one right here in front of the tree. Well, I'd say that black and white is probably doing a decent job of imitating some of those bait fish that came over the dam the other day. And oh boy, does he have that wrapped up. I'm not sure if it was him or the last fish, but somebody bit my hook. When I go past this big sycamore tree down here in the water, and they're only running like one unit like they are now, I know that, you know, inside kind of the small eddy created by that sycamore tree, the water's real shallow in there. So I actually like to keep my boat 20-30 feet out from the end of the tree and fish the seam line that's coming down. It's a little bit deeper right there. It starts to drop off, and I find unless we have more water running and it's deeper over there, that they seem to hang out a little farther out than in. Yeah, I think we'll go to the end of the trophy run island down here and call it a day. I caught a walleye the other day when we were just up here messing around fishing, and I grabbed him around his head, and one of them gills, or one of his fins, poked me, and it still hurts quite a bit. Be careful grabbing those fish. Definitely don't grab them by the mouth, but I'd be careful grabbing them by the body too. Well, I know my black and white's working. I want to try one last color. And I want to try this black and purple. That's a 1/16 ounce black and purple, and that's on the 4-pound test with one of our rods. But a few days ago I was up here and the black and purple was doing really well. I just want to see if I can repeat results or if that was just a special kind of day. Now the lake, I think the other day when I was using it, the lake had just started to get dingy. So there may have been a little more water clarity for this darker silhouette. It may be that the water's too dingy for a lure that has two dark colors, but we're gonna find out. Right over there near the tip of that island, the water's really shallow. That's why you're seeing me work the jig that fast. And there was a fish laying over there. We wanted him some black and purple. But if you don't work it that fast, then it hits the bottom and gets caught up, and then it gets pulled back behind the boat pretty far. That's a pretty fish. Big old belly. Look at that. Very pretty. Well, it would seem a little variety of everything is working today. I think now that we've had the floodgates open and constant water running since the floodgates, I think that a better percentage of trout are moving upstream towards the dam. Also, the rainbow mating run will be starting in the next couple weeks, and I think that it just seems like there's a higher population of fish up here lately than there has been. And looks like we got out of our no wind zone here. Just that little section from the bottom of the big hole up to the island had no wind in it. the wind was blowing any harder today, I'd probably switch over to a 3/32 ounce jig. Alright, I think I'm gonna fish the deep side over here for my last couple casts. Even with one unit, you do have to be careful moving your boat through this area. If you got your motor all the way down and you get too close to that island over there, it can and will drag your prop or your skag on the bottom. Okay, last cast. Okay, I'm calling it there. Well guys, thanks for joining us today. Like and share us on Facebook, please, and we'll do it for you again tomorrow. Thanks guys.